I'm sorry, Pierce, but to get up there and perform the whole show in Spanish is a middle finger to the rest of America. Who gives a damn that we have 40 million Spanish speakers in the United States? We have 310 million who don't speak a lick of Spanish.
Oh, what is going on, bro? What in the F is that, bro? I can't. I can't, bro. What type of rebellion is that? Nobody, like, bro, there was nobody there. Really wasn't even nobody there. Like, what? And then hey, man, hey, America got to get their stuff together, dog. That is one of the most funniest and worst things that I ever watched. For like, that was a waste of my time. Even just sitting, seeing that clip on TikTok just now, right? It's horrible. Cause what in the actual?
Can you imagine being a part of the group of fucking losers that watched the Turning Point halftime show over the real one? Like,
And how racist do you have to have a whole separate halftime show because you don't want to see a Hispanic American performing at the real Super Bowl halftime show? Bad Bunny is from Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is a part of America. I do not know why people are upset that he is performing at the halftime show. That is some of the most dumb shit in the world. In the American halftime show that is supposed to be replacing it for a lot of people, they're gonna go watch it on a different network, and it's going to be Kid Rock and 3 country artists I've literally never heard of. I guarantee that you haven't heard of them either.
Growing up, I used to think that America is this big country, a country that stood for fairness, a country that stood for unity, a country that stood for equality. But now that I've grown older, I'm starting to see things differently. Because what do you mean the leaders, the same leaders that are supposed to protect the integrity of their country, would openly support having an alternative Super Bowl halftime show just because the main Super Bowl halftime show is going to be performed by Bad Bunny, an American citizen, and the reason they are against him is because he is going to perform in Spanish. Knowing very well that the United States have over 40 million people speaking Spanish, but because they think that English is their main language, they went ahead and had an alternative open show, calling it the actual American show that features English-speaking artists. And of course, this has sparked outrage all over the internet and people are speaking against it. So I would like us to watch some of the videos that I have prepared for you. Every clip and every stitch, credits belong to the original creators of these videos. Stay tuned and also let me know what you think on the comment section. I will be back with more commentary.
The country of America will never miss an opportunity to show just how racist it is and how deep-seated racism is into the very fabric, culture, and psyche of white people in this country.
It was the worst halftime show ever, and it's 250 years that we're celebrating right now in the United States, and I just don't think it was appropriate to have it in Spanish. And to me, it looked like a political statement because there were literally no white people in the entire thing.
Bad Bunny did the Super Bowl yesterday, and he did an amazing job at preaching unity, showing unity amongst the Americas, with the message that the only thing stronger than hate is love. Well, conversely, the Christian organization who's supposed to be showing love did an alternative halftime show, Turning Point USA, which was rooted in division and rooted in hate.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the All-American Halftime Show. Let's get to it. This is Real American.
When you look at some of the sentiments online of those who were watching the Turning Point USA show and those who were critical of the Super Bowl, they were saying things like, there's an absence of white people, so it can't be real America, or this is real America. Most of MAGA are losers. Like, you are a loser and a racist loser on top of that. Imagine how much of a loser you have to be at the Super Bowl and to be streaming Turning Point USA's alternative Super Bowl at the Super Bowl and film it. You're a fucking loser. Being racist makes no sense. I battle every day with how racism even exists because it's illogical on so many levels, but it takes too much energy. And if America was just bland, mayonnaise, seasonless, boiled chicken, white rice on white toast, this would be one of the most boring countries in the universe. The beauty of the country of America and the region of America, the continent of America, and respectively the Americas is a diversity in what we produce and how we all share a similar story of captivation, colonization, slavery, and then building cultures out of nothing. When you look at all of the countries from Canada down to Argentina to Haiti to Brazil to Dominican Republic to Chile, all of us are products of said colonization. We're all a mix of African, European, and indigenous people. So when you have a country like the US who is preaching this division and this fake ideology of white equals American and nothing else equals American, it's a falsified, delusional sense of self because this land has never been white. It's never been white. And the fact that you guys are going out of your way to suggest that real America means white people, while you are all eating your Taco Tuesday, while you love salsa, while you love hummus, Chinese food, you love Thai, you love curry, you love all the things that aren't bland white European things. You love them. You love the food, the culture, the style, the music, but you still think that America is an all-white place. I've never been more confused about how people can be delusional and just be ignorant to the history of their own country. But Turning Point USA, a Christian organization, is making money off division and hatred. All of you, just say it. Just say you're racist. Say you want America to be white. Say you think America is white. But don't gaslight people into saying that Bad Bunny did a horrible performance. And for all you coons out there, I say also a lot of black people who are cooning hard for this quote-unquote American identity. No one understands the reality of colonization, forced erasure, assimilation, and oppression than us. Puerto Ricans are no different than Black Americans. We are all product of the same story. Everybody in the Americas are a product of the same story. And that's why I love that when he said, God bless America, it was all of the countries in the Americas. It must suck to wake up, be white, and be racist. Because Lord knows you guys are just, you hate too much. It has to have a lot of energy. It has to take a lot of energy to be racist. Just don't be racist. It's pretty simple.
To absolutely nobody's surprise, Donald Trump wasted no time slamming Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime show. While the rest of us were enjoying this amazing performance, Donald Trump was hating on his platform Truth Social. He says, the Super Bowl halftime show is absolutely terrible, one of the worst ever. It makes no sense. It is an affront to the greatness of America and doesn't represent our standards of success, creativity, or excellence. Nobody understands a word this guy is saying, and the dancing is disgusting, especially for young children that are watching from throughout the USA and all over the world. The show is just a slap in the face to our country, which is setting new standards and records every single day, including the best stock market and 401ks in history. There is nothing inspirational about this mess of a halftime show, and watch, it will get great reviews from the fake news media because they haven't got a clue of what is going on in the real world. And by the way, the NFL should immediately replace its ridiculous new kickoff rule. Make America great again. Signed, President Donald J. Trump. I mean, would it kill him to just enjoy the show? For crying out loud, there was a wedding at this performance. Like, how can you hate on this? And yes, this was actually a real wedding. These are reportedly fans of Bad Bunny who invited him to their wedding, but instead he invited them to the Super Bowl. What a beautiful moment. Once again, I am not surprised that Trump had nothing but terrible things to say about this.
Not only did this move spark outrage, it also quickly turned into an embarrassment. Because when the numbers came in, the contrast was impossible to ignore. The alternative American halftime show with some MAGA-aligned figures reportedly pulled a few millions across the platforms. Meanwhile, the actual Super Bowl halftime show pulled more than 100 million views, just like it always does. So the public made its choice very clear, because the show that was supposed to represent America only had very few people watching it. And that whole situation made it laughable, because the whole argument was that the person performing at Super Bowl is not an English-speaking artist, and therefore he could not represent America well. But most people proved these MAGA-aligned figures otherwise, because they ended up watching the actual Super Bowl halftime show. Because at the end of the day, yes, we can agree that America largely has most people speaking English, but we should also accept the fact that there are other people who speak different languages, such as Spanish. Spanish has over like 40 million people speaking Spanish, and they also deserve representation. And for you to come out and be against that shows what kind of a person you are, and that is not what America is.
I'm starting to believe that this entire situation with Bad Bunny and the TPUSA halftime shows are really a case study on how white people just cannot allow other people to have anything. Because these conservative white Christians are so against allowing anyone to have representation, allowing anyone to showcase their culture, allowing anyone to be seen and celebrated or have joy. And I think it all boils down to they don't have any of that, despite being promised that they are special because they are white. So it baffles them that with all this whiteness that they have, with all this privilege, they're still miserable. And they cannot fathom why that is. And then they see us, right? The melanated people, Black Americans, Latino Americans, Indigenous Americans, all the Asian Americans, all the POC. They see us still able to have joy, still able to celebrate and keep connections to our culture, still have identity that's not tied directly to racism like theirs is. And I think that eats at them from the inside. That's why they age like spoiled milk. I don't know, kind of find this interesting. It also shows that these people do not understand actual symbolism and context. Because you couldn't just sit your ass down there and watch and still see how beautiful that show was. I don't speak Spanish, but I loved every second. I understood every symbolic thing that he put in that show. I understood the importance of people, whether I'm Hispanic or not. Seeing themselves matter. Seeing people that look like you matter. Representation matters. Celebration of culture matters. You gotta be some type of hateful to not understand that simplest fact.
So what we saw wasn't just a cultural debate, it was a reality check. Because the people who tried to push the idea of a separate American show believed that they were speaking for a majority of the American people. They honestly believe that if they framed it around language and basically between English and the Spanish people, they believe that most people would rally behind them. But when the people decided, the outcome gave a completely different story. Because most people chose to watch the actual Super Bowl halftime show as opposed to the American halftime show, because that is what they are used to. This is what was supposed to happen. Was it not for the politics? This is exactly how things should have happened. Not having a separate Super Bowl halftime show because the actual show has an artist who speaks Spanish. So basically, most people chose the artists the politicians were trying to exclude. And I actually believe that this move was very political, because Bad Bunny during the Grammys, he was very much against the ICE agents harassing the people. He was very clear about America belonging to the American people, and that America is a diverse country. It is a country which has so many people, including the white people, the black people, the Latin people, every person. That is what America is known for, having diversity. And so he was against the ICE agents harassing the people just because they thought they were immigrants, because they were not speaking good English. And I feel like this has become a trend in the United States because this is not the first time it is happening. Last year, when Burna Boy was supposed to perform at the Super Bowl halftime show, so many people were against him because probably they thought that he does not represent America because he's a black person. Because so many Americans believe that America is only for the white people. There is this ideology of white supremacy where these white people want to be so much seen, want to feel like they are above others. But I mean, we are in 2026. Things have changed. The way people think should change. You know, like we shouldn't be dealing with the same things that we have dealt with years before, because it's time for change. People have called out for change for a very long time, and it's time America listens to its people, because America doesn't just belong to the white people. Yes, it does belong to white people, but not just white people. It belongs to other communities as well. It belongs to the black people, it belongs to the Indians, it belongs to the indigenous people, it belongs to the Latinos, it belongs to every person, provided you are an American citizen. And therefore, you shouldn't be discriminated against just because of the color of your skin, just because of the language you speak. And actually, English is not the national language of America. Yes, there could be so many people who speak English because so many people have learned the English language, but that is not the national language of America. And therefore, you should be able to embrace other languages the same way other people embrace your language. Myself, I don't understand Spanish, but when I saw the performance of Bad Bunny, I was so impressed because I felt like he was showcasing something that so many communities have always wanted to showcase, and that is their culture. Because just because you're in America doesn't mean that you have the same culture. Cultures are diverse based on the community you come from. And so Bad Bunny showcasing his culture, he wasn't committing a crime. He was trying to show us what Puerto Rico is. We may have not been able to understand what he was saying, but we connected in some way. It is good that this happened because America was able to show that it is not just a country for white people, but a country for so many other communities. It is a country that is diverse. So many people did not know that. Some people knew that America belongs to the white people because the white people are the majority, and the white people are the ones who are usually dominant in these politics. And therefore, they usually showcase that America is a country for white people. So at the end of the day, I'm happy that the actual Super Bowl halftime show was able to excel. It was a success, and it did not flop as so many palm-colored people expected. So I commend every person who showed up. I commend every person that supported Bad Bunny, because that way you are able to show that America is a diverse country, a country that loves peace, a country that loves every person. Guys, this has come to the end of my commentary. If you're new here, this is Talk with Kate. If you haven't subscribed, kindly consider subscribing to this channel, like this video, and share. Until the next episode, bye.